Hi there. I will now be answering the interview questions. And the first question is, what questions do you need answered before you start designing an experience? So, for any experience, I would want to answer the following questions. Who are my users? What are their goals, needs, and pain points? I also want to ask who are my stakeholders and what are their business objectives. And once both of those questions are answered, I then want to ask how can I align those answers as best as possible? I also want to ask what product and or service am I designing and in what context will they be used, meaning where, when, how, and why will it be used? So all of these questions are to help me understand whom I'm designing for and what I'm designing. Next question. Did you design your flows with different start points? In other words, not just onboarding, sign up, forgot password, etc. So I designed 3 user flows based on 2 of my personas, and they actually all had the same starting points, that being launch downloaded app, then create an account, log in, and go through an optional onboarding process before going to the home screen. And based on the objectives of my personas, my home screen is like the starting point for multiple tasks. They have options basically, and they can search for artists and artist parlors via location. They can also search for designs, and they can also quickly access those artists, parlors, and designs that they saved as favorites. So far in my design journey, this is what I have for my home screen. Next question. Can you describe a time when the requirements changed in the middle of a project and how you handled that? So I've been thinking about this question a lot, digging for an authentic answer, but to be honest, I don't quite have one yet because I do feel like this achievement is still very much at the beginning stages. And so a lot of it is still just research and kind of analyzing and organizing my research, not actually yet executing it and turning it into wireframes or prototypes. So I haven't actually had to really change anything significant yet. So that leads me to the last question. What are the design tools in your tool belt, and in what situations do you use one tool or method over another? So prior to Career Foundry, I didn't have a lot of design tools that I would use online. So some great ones that I've learned via Career Foundry are Figma, Marvel, and Google Drawing. So I'll start talking about when I use each one. When I want to make a prototype, I usually just print out a bunch of blank templates and just draw in my ideas. And then once I've finalized my low fidelity, like my first draft, I will then use Figma to eventually create a high fidelity wireframe. Sorry, I meant to say wireframe at the beginning, not prototype. And I really like Figma. I basically studied how to use it via YouTube and used it for my first achievement, and it worked great. I was actually really surprised by how nicely it came out, and it made my execution of my prototype a lot better. And so for my prototype, I used Marvel. And that's the only prototyping tool I know for now. And then for my user flows, initially I just did it on paper, and I think Google Drawings is great. It's simple, it's not distracting. Yeah, I do find that the better prepared I am with the tasks that I've written down previous to making a user flow, the smoother that process is. So I find that whatever tool that I use, I still always have like a 8x11 sketch pad by my side all the time. I just really love working with paper and pencil. I'm actually a violinist, so I'm a very tactile learner. And not only that, but like having an empty canvas allows me to think and conceptualize more freely instead of being somewhat limited to the methodologies of these other apps. So these apps, I don't know a whole lot, but they've all served me really well. And no matter what I'm using, like I said, I still love to just have blank paper and a pencil next to me. So that concludes the answers to all the interview questions. Thanks for your time.